Hello, welcome to College Tour Purchasing. This video is about the purchasing development model. It explains how purchasing as a discipline evolves over time in organizations. And I'm going to explain what drives this development. And I also will show you how purchasing maturity will differ across different sectors. This is what this video is about. Gives an illustration of how man over time developed. It took evolution considerable time to arrive at the creatures that today inhabit this earth. The same is true for purchasing organizations, although its development took less time than the development of mankind, obviously. What we see in organizations is that, having studied so many different purchasing organizations, I see a 6-step development in our profession. From the first step in its development is, first stage of development we can identify is what we call the transactional orientation. Here the purchasing and supply department is in fact taking orders from others, and it's placing these orders to suppliers. It's an administrative clerical operation. In the second stage of development, we see that purchasing evolves into a commercial orientation, and managers are aware that if you ask competitive bids from suppliers and compare these bids and play these suppliers off against each other, that you can save a lot of money. So we have a truly commercial orientation. Now, the third stage emerges in companies that operate different business units, and they're going to combine the volumes of these different business units. We call that purchasing coordination. And then we have the fourth stage, which is called internal integration. Here, what happens is that managers are aware of the value of procurement to and purchasing to their organization. And they say it's too important to leave it only to buyers. So what we see here is that purchasing decision making is integrated into the business itself. And the purchasing department is a support organization for these business managers. External integration, there what we see is that suppliers will come into the organization and they will merge with internal processes. We call that external integration. And then finally, we have value chain integration, and that means that suppliers and its customer work side by side in developing better value propositions for the customer of the company. And what we see over time is that the effectiveness and the cumulative savings accrue over time. And in this picture, I've given it a smooth line, but in reality, it's far from smooth. What we see in practice is that it is more a roller coaster development than the smooth line that I depict here. Now, what we also see is that industries may represent different stages of maturity. Public utilities usually are on the left side, and automotive and retailers are more at the right side of this picture. But for individual companies, it may be different. There's a difference between Walmart, for instance, and Albert Heijn in Holland. There's a difference between how Skoda deals with its suppliers and how BMW deals with its suppliers. So within sectors, you can find several differences. And what we also can see is that if companies want to migrate from one stage to another, this will go with significant pain and cost. And this is represented by the circling arrows. Going from a transactional orientation to a commercial orientation, companies must accept that more than one bid are being asked from suppliers up from a certain amount of money, and that managers are used to ask for these different bids. Going from commercial orientation to purchasing orientation, it leads to a situation where individual business units must give up their autonomy because some of the packages and categories that are being negotiated are done at the corporate level rather than at the business unit level. And then the most important change comes when we go from purchasing coordination to internal integration, because at that stage, management itself should take responsibility for purchasing and supply decision making and not leave that just to buyers. And here, buyers need to deal with that new situation, but managers themselves too. They should realize that purchasing is too important then to leave it only to buyers. And then we see an external integration when suppliers get into the premises of the company, that people feel a little afraid that they are going to lose work to the suppliers and confidential information to the suppliers. So there's another hurdle that needs to be taken. And so you see that modern purchasing and supply management is all about change management. The theory is nice, but the practice to implement all these concepts is a rather tough practice. So purchasing and supply management is change management.